What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Rock Corpse,
And I'm Rich.
and this is Morbid Curator Podcast. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about Evil Dead Rise. It just came out this year in 2023. The director's Lee Cronin, and man, what a great movie.
Yeah, I loved it.
Before we get to it, though, what's up, dude? It's been a minute since we
it's been
did
a
an
while
episode.
since we
Just been busy and playing the shit out of Diablo 4.
right.
That's been taking up most of my time.
Yeah. Any fellow Diablo 4 players out there? We're on there quite a bit.
Yeah.
So when we're not working.
Yeah, if anybody's ever down to play, just drop your BattleNet tag in our comments and shit. We'll hop on with you guys. We got a clan going and everything, and it's a lot of fun. If you guys haven't played that game yet, go check them out. Go check out the earlier ones too.
Oh yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah. But yeah, man, anything new with you lately?
No, I
watch
mean,
any new flicks or old flicks? Anything?
No, like I haven't really. I just this movie here. I mean, of course we saw it in the movie theater.
Yeah.
And everything, and we both have it on video now and stuff. And yeah, it's a really good film. I know a lot of people didn't like it. They liked the last one better, the remake.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't know why people just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I do really like the 2013 remake, but I don't know, man. This one's like really, to me, it was badass.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, the remake's awesome too. I mean, I love that. I love the whole series. I mean, I really do. Like, just a lot of the, the original Evil Dead 2, even Army of Darkness.
Yeah, they're classics.
They're classics. They're cult classics. A lot of people nowadays, they look at them, they think they're just stupid, cheesy, and stuff like that. But back then, I mean, it was the shit back then.
Yeah,
and
like I'm not. Anybody who knows me knows I'm not really into like paranormal type movies and stuff. Yeah. And I think Evil Dead is like the only movie that's kind of like that, with like the paranormal shit that I can actually get into. It's like it's more brutal, and it's not just like fake shit happening, like doors slamming and stuff like that. It's actually entertaining. And shit. Like,
I mean, another one that comes to mind is Hellraiser. Yeah, Hellraiser's a good one too, like that.
Yeah, for sure. I love Hellraiser. It actually got like an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I never follow Rotten Tomatoes because it's usually bullshit.
Yeah.
But I was actually surprised that they got that high of a rating for them because of all the shit that I've heard about this movie. Not a lot of people liked it and stuff like that. Usually Rotten Tomatoes is like completely backwards with me. Like my favorite movie is like a 15% or some shit.
Mine too. Yeah.
So I never.
It doesn't even register.
Yeah. I don't even. There's so many people who are like, oh, what's the Rotten Tomatoes score on it,
and they just go by that.
Yeah, it's like, dude, watch it your fucking self. Right. And but yeah, I was very surprised that this movie got that high of a rating, just from it being like a public thing, So
right.
So as you guys know, we're not gonna do a walkthrough through this movie like we usually do, since it's such a new movie. We will have some spoilers and stuff for sure, but we're gonna kind of refrain from doing a whole walkthrough because we're excited for you guys to check this movie out and let us know what you guys think. If you have seen it, just leave a comment and we'll comment back. I'm constantly watching my socials and waiting for people to comment or on anything, the episodes, the movies that we talk about, anything. But if you haven't watched this movie yet, I highly recommend it. It does do that Evil Dead classic, like with the camera running through the woods, the evil entity kind of thing. But it starts out with these people at a lake house, and shit takes a turn for the worse. This one woman is pretty possessed, I mean, to say the fucking least.
Right.
And they just go she just goes on like a killing rampage and kills her friends, and those are brutal kills. And this is like the very beginning of the movie,
right off the rip.
Yeah, like we're not even 5 minutes in yet, and there's just some badass kills. I don't want to say too much with the kills, but I will say like one of my favorite parts involves a drone.
Yeah, right.
And so it's super fucking badass, and that's just the beginning. And then the overall story of this is a mom has 3 kids, and her sister comes to this like hotel or apartment.
Yeah, it's
apartment building
to visit.
Yeah, to visit her sister. And long story short, there's an earthquake. The little boy, finds the Book of Dead, which any Evil Dead fan knows what that is. And you can just, at that point, shit's gonna take a fucking turn.
Shit goes south.
Yeah. And the mom gets possessed and just tries killing her family. And that's basically, long story short, that's pretty much what the movie consists of. Like, the story was good, and it's not that narrowed down, but that's, they just try to survive, and the evil entity just keeps getting passed to other family members and all that. The movie itself is just so badass. It's gory as hell, and it's funny. Like, there's a lot of humorous,
a lot of one-liners in this. A lot.
Yeah,
like it's
if you're into like comedy / horror, like Shaun of the Dead type stuff. Obviously this is a different sort of comedy, but
if anybody out there has been, if they've seen the other Evil Dead films, they'll know exactly how. This film was typical Evil Dead fashion. It was just.
I actually did like the story a little bit. It's got some purpose. Like, I can see why some people would have a problem with it because it's kind of bland in a way.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. The sister's pregnant and comes, to her house, which is Beth is the pregnant one, and she goes to Ellie's house. And Ellie, as everybody has seen in the trailer for the movie, she's like the possessed demonic, the mom.
Yeah. Which they had Alyssa Sutherland play her, and dude, it was a perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
She
did it. She played that
awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah. It was pretty fucking creepy. She's like played the part very well. And I haven't seen a newer movie this good since Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and me either.
Usually I don't even watch newer movies because it's just like I know it's going to be a letdown.
Yeah.
But obviously Evil Dead, you got to check this shit out.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, she was amazing. Honestly, all of the actors, even all the way down to the little girl that played Cassie.
Cassie, yeah.
She even did a really good job.
Oh yeah, all the actors it was really, it wasn't, some actors, just cheesy and stuff like that. But no, everybody was really good in that.
Yeah, you couldn't even. There's some points in movies where you can, you remember that you're watching a movie because of their acting.
Yeah.
But
bad acting or overacting.
Yeah, but watching this, obviously I don't want to say it like felt real, but like it kept you entertained and on your toes, and
it drew you into the movie. It drew you into to what was going on. You felt like you're there.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but the movie, we, like you said earlier, we saw it in the movie theater. It felt like it was quick. I was so into the movie and just focusing on it that
as soon as it's over with.
Yeah, I know it's already a pretty short film. It was only like an hour and a half or something, but it just went by so quick because it was just such a good, entertaining movie.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is because there was no really dead spots in that movie. It just like kept going. It was just like a train rolling down the tracks. It
Yeah.
just didn't stop.
And the kills were entertaining. It wasn't like, you'll watch a horror movie and the kills are just kind of boring and just, it's not anything spectacular or anything. But they really did a good job with like putting some pizzazz on these kills. Like, they were unique. It wasn't just a typical kill.
Right. And just the one-liners too, like we talked about.
The one-liners. Do you remember a couple of them?
Yeah. I mean, oh man.
One of my favorite ones was "Mommy's with the Maggots Now."
Oh yeah.
Because when she was getting out of the bathtub,
right,
and the kids were like, "Mommy," and she's, and it's in like a demon voice too. You know, it's like, "Mommy's with the maggots now."
Right.
And they showed that on the trailer too.
Yeah. One that I like too, and I don't know if I'm quoting this correctly, but it when the mom, she's possessed and stuff, and she says, "I'm finally free now. I'm free of you, tit sucking parasites."
Titty sucking parasites. Yeah, that shit was. There was another one too when Bridget, the older daughter, when she was like eating that glass.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, I think Beth was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I gotta kill the creepy crawlies inside my tummy. Mm-hmm. And then she looked over at her and she's like, I don't like things in my tummy or something like that. Since Beth's pregnant, she like knew that, referring to it.
Yeah.
And they kept referring, that was the other, I guess there's one thing that didn't make sense to me about the story was they kept referencing the baby and like multiple times, but like you never heard anything more of like what's going to happen with the baby or like why.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like it was almost like they kept referencing it so much for a reason so that you would remember it.
I didn't think about that. But that's a good point. I mean, because we were talking earlier about where does the franchise go from here? You know? So maybe that's something. Yeah,
that could be one of the next movies,
or taking it from there.
Because they didn't, even at the end there was just nothing. So I guess that was the only complaint. I wouldn't even call it that. Where just not enough information on why it was such a big deal that she was pregnant. Other than that, I honestly have no other complaints. I mean, it was a pretty good movie. What about you? You got anything that you disliked about it?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple things that I didn't like it, but I mean, we're talking about a horror film, so nothing makes fucking sense anyway. But just like the time Danny, I think is the boy, when he's playing that record, and then Beth plays it, and when Danny plays it, he figures out that he has to like speed it up because it's not at the RPMs that record plays. And then when Beth has it, he doesn't even tell her anything about the record, and she automatically knows to speed. Like she just before it even plays, she starts speeding it up. So it's just kind of like one of those things that it just, they could have, and there was a couple other parts there too that didn't really make any sense. Like they could have filled in to make it more realistic. I mean, in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was my only complaint about it. But.
Well, that being said, what would you rate the movie?
I think overall, with all the, I give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I was thinking 8. I'd do an 8. And only because, like I said, the story was a little bland. There wasn't much. But I mean, that's typical horror movies.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's kind of Evil Dead too. I mean, it's always 1 and 2, they're in the woods and the cabin, and that's it. That's where you're at,
Yeah.
And this is the typical, like I said, it's Evil Dead fashion.
Yeah.
And this is just in the apartment building, and it's kind of, there's not much else going on, than what the immediate characters are going through.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. What are some of your favorite kills? I mean, there was a shit ton of them, but
there's a lot of
is there anything?
I mean, I really loved them all. There was like not.
None of them were boring. I mean, they all had some type of uniqueness to them.
I think the best one for me was at the very end with the wood chipper.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite too. We'll say some spoilers and stuff, but because I just have to, and I know it's the end of the movie and stuff, but if you haven't seen the movie, probably shouldn't listen to this, or if you don't really care, still listen to this, but basically Ellie, the mom, turns into like some fucking The Thing, something from Society looking thing, from the movie Society, and they end up going down into the parking garage, and there was randomly, this is the other thing, why is there a fucking random wood chipper in this like condemned apartment building, that is built on top of a bank,
that's kind of what I was saying earlier. There's some things in there that just really doesn't make any,
but it's a fucking horror movie, and that shit just happened.
And why does there happen to be a chainsaw right there?
Right, yeah. Like, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wait a minute. But anyway, Ellie, like I said, she like turns into The Thing looking type shit, and it's like everybody that she's killed in the apartment is like a part of her now. Right. There's like a bunch of arms sticking out of her and heads, and they're just combined and stuff. And she follows Cassie, the little girl, and Beth into this, like I said, the parking garage, because they're the only two that are alive out of everybody.
Yeah.
And she, they kind of go back and forth through a couple scenes and stuff, and ultimately she ends up in this wood chipper, and it's pretty badass. Beth actually says, come get some, which is like a reference to Ash and stuff from, Army of Darkness and all that, and just tells Cassie to flip the switch, and you just see this fucking blood splatting out of this wood chipper, and all these heads screaming, and then it as soon as it, it's already fucking badass, and you don't think it can get much cooler, and then Beth takes the chainsaw that she randomly found in this parking garage and just like shoves it right in her head. She says something cool too right before she does it, but I can't remember. Wasn't Ellie like talking shit? Like, didn't she say something about you're gonna? No, that was after.
Calling her groupie.
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
And
She kept calling her.
She said at the end, she called her what Ellie used to call her.
Bethy Boo.
Yeah,
Bethy Boo or something.
Bethy Boo.
Yeah.
And she said only my sister gets me to call.
Gets to call me
that, and then like shoves the
and it's super gory. I mean, all the kills in this were fucking gory as hell and top notch. You know, there's, if you're like a body horror type dude, like this is a good movie to watch. I mean, it doesn't take much to please me as far as like a story, as long as the shit's gory as hell and there's some badass kills in it, and this is definitely that movie. I mean, just like Terrifier 2. I mean, there's not much of a plot to that either, but I mean, it keeps you entertained.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole part of a horror movie, you know.
Yeah, So you got any like Easter eggs or fun facts for this movie?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that chainsaw, as Evil Dead fans know, that Ash's um, Oldsmobile Cutlass '88 always shows up in the Evil Dead movies, but this time it didn't show up. But the chainsaw that Ellie's wielding is the same color as the the Cutlass, so
Oh hell yeah,
that's how they did that.
yeah,
And it's like full of Easter eggs to um, like the pizza box. You know, when the kids go for pizza,
yeah,
Henrietta's Pizza.
yeah.
Well, Henrietta um, is from Evil Dead 2,
Mm.
the one she um, uh, turns into a
Yeah,
deity.
yeah.
Yeah, that's Henrietta. So that's where that comes
Hell
from.
yeah.
The pizza box and
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love when they do shit like that.
yeah. And you know, we like we've talked about this too. The Bruce Campbell shows up.
Yeah,
Um,
he's the voice of the pastor, right?
yeah, the priest,
The
like
priest.
warning, like he's giving a warning about the book.
Yeah,
You can hear him shouting out there,
Mhm.
and that's Bruce Campbell. Um, when Ellie, and I know you know this, but when Ellie chews that dude's eye out, you know,
Yeah.
and it's Bruce Campbell eating an apple.
Yeah.
It's a sound effect to it. So
Yeah.
it's just it's really cool. It's just a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of fun facts with this film.
Yeah, and Sam Raimi had something to do with
Mhm.
it too. He was like an executive
Mhm.
producer.
Yep.
And Bruce Campbell was a
Yep.
producer too
Mhm.
and stuff.
Yep.
And you can definitely tell that Sam Raimi had something to do with it because I mean it is there's a lot of similarities
Yeah.
with the Evil Deads and stuff, and which isn't a bad thing. You know,
No.
it was,
They played a lot of homage to the old
yeah.
Evil.
And I thought it was cool that they switched it up. And you know, there's probably a lot of people who weren't super into the movie not being like in the woods.
Mhm.
But I liked the change of it being in the
I did
apartment
too.
building. Like it kind of made it.
Yeah.
It was like creepy, and
Mhm.
it was just really overall just a really cool movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it really
even though it
was.
was like a different setting,
Mhm.
I really enjoyed it. Another one of my favorite things is Cassie, the little girl, which I mean, I feel so bad for her. She's like going to be traumatized for life. I mean, after
Right.
all the shit that they
Right,
put her
yeah.
through in this movie. Even the actor, you know, I can't
Mhm,
imagine being a little girl. Just like
Yeah.
it makes you wonder what like all did she actually see, you know,
Yeah.
as the actor, like what,
Yeah.
you know, because there were some fucked up moments in there,
Right.
you know, that
Yeah.
you would think would scar a kid, you know, or make them scared.
Right.
But she did really good. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember her name, the actor's name, but she was
Yeah, I
really
can't
good
remember
too.
either.
I mean,
Yeah. She
for a
was
little
too.
girl and stuff, that
Yeah.
was awesome.
But it's like it kind of reminds me of The Exorcist, Linda Blair,
Yeah,
as little as she was and stuff.
yeah,
And it just popped in my head about she talked about later on about they asked her, you know, when she was saying fuck all the time,
yeah,
and stuff like that, and you know she said, well, my mom was just telling me it's acting, you know,
Yeah.
it's acting and stuff. And then with her that scene where she has that cross and she's
the
like
crucifix and shit,
and she's, you know,
like masturbating with it.
kind of just, you know, and there's blood and everything else like this. And she said I didn't know what I was doing. All I was doing is taking this cross and just going up and down in this sponge, you know, just like hitting it into the sponge. She said she didn't realize what
it meant.
Yeah,
like,
what it meant or
you know,
whatever. That's all they told her to do this, and then she did it and stuff like that. But
yeah, I'm sure they have their ways around.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, not
you got to be like
them.
you got to be like pretty delicate in that kind of area when it comes to kids. Yeah.
But what I was saying, one of my favorite parts is like Cassie towards the beginning of the movie. She like is you see her with some scissors cutting off this baby doll's head.
Oh yeah.
And which I don't know how they didn't think, like how her mom and sister and brother didn't think this was like kind of demented of her.
Right.
But she like put it on a stick and
Yeah.
named it Stephanie.
Yeah.
And thought it was going to protect her from her nightmares, shit like that. And her brother Danny was talking about how there used to be a bank and that the apartment's built on, and like having Stephanie would like keep her safe basically or something. But I thought it was like really badass, this one part where Cassie takes Stephanie, and at this point Bridget was also, her older sister was also possessed and shit, and she like takes Stephanie and just like shoves it through Bridget was coming after her, and she like out of fear like stuck it up, and it went through Bridget's mouth and out the back of her head.
Yeah.
I thought that was like super brutal and badass.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I really liked how even like they even involved the kids with like the killings, like there was like a point where Bridget and Danny were fighting, and she like stabs him through the bicep with a knife, and she's like, I think she like threw up blood on him or something.
Yeah, and he set her on fire.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
Yeah, it was really, really good movie. I mean, the special effects were awesome.
Yeah, really, they really were. But I think that's pretty much covers it. I mean, I didn't want to spoil too much or, give away the kills too much. Definitely, if you check it out, and you should, let us know what you thought of it. If you fucking hated it, just tell us, we wanted to get your opinions on it, and just, know what everybody else is feeling about the movie, because I dug it, you dug it. Yeah, man,
I mean, obviously it got a good Rotten Tomatoes. And
other
people dug it too. So.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, I think we're gonna wrap it up. And is there anything else you need to say?
I just want to say to our fellow metalheads out there, keep supporting fucking metal.
Hell yeah, and get hip or rot. Peace out, guys.